First question is, what is our winning aspiration? And what do I mean by this? I mentioned this in the business conference that I did. When you ask entrepreneurs this, usually the gut answer is, oh, to be rich, of course, to be number one. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting a little more deeper than that. What is the reason for your being? What is the purpose of this organization? Why does it exist? And another way to think about that is, if it didn't exist, who would miss it and what would they miss? So you put yourself in the customer's shoes and you say, if I'm not here today, are they going to miss me? Why? And that comes from a place of, what is it that you believe in and that's driving you, that is creating that emotional connection with that customer. It gets you thinking, because you start to tie your reason for being with your core values and not with the external world. So you don't have your business because credit is cheap and so you decided to start it. You started your business. One of the core values of the Kavi Group is freedom. It is our number one core value. And so everything we do comes out of the fact that we believe in freedom of the individual and freedom of leaders and companies to make decisions that change the way they do things for their customers. And so we're not beholden to a certain methodology. We're not beholden to a certain software. We're not beholden to shareholders or venture capitalists. We are free to give objective advice that permeates the entire being of Kavi Group. And our customers love us for that. You actually come out with two deliverables. One is your mission statement. And the second is your core values, your set of core values. And that's crucial to building a strategy. Without those two, you don't really have a strategy. You just have a set of tactics, is the best way I can put it.
Got it, man. Got it. I was going to ask you what the difference is between that and mission, but what you're saying is that your winning aspiration and what the world would miss if you're not around is what's going to lead you to understanding what your mission would be and your core values. So I guess if I was to, I've been working real hard at mine. I try to think of it as, what's the problem that I solve, which is the way that I've asked that. But I like that way of thinking. And as I continue down this path and we evangelize our mission and vision, it's this idea of companies being able to prioritize relationships over transactions. The idea that if we're not around, then nobody's going to be there to say, there is better ways to sell that are not a nuisance. There's better ways to market that aren't just like pestering people. And the way that you do it is by figuring out processes and technologies that you can combine to add value to people at scale, so that it makes a sale more like enrolling into something as opposed to being sold.
I would say even take it up one more level. What's your reason for being? If you had to put it in a sentence, our mission is to help leaders make positive and sustainable change in their organization. And we define leaders as people with courage who are willing to take a chance and take a stand and do something different against the norm. Right? So our purpose for being is to help those people, not the companies. When we use clients in the frame of Kavi Group, we never talk about companies. We talk about individuals. And so our clients are those individual leaders who are looking to make a change. They're tired with the status quo. They don't want to follow the traditional route. And they say, I need a partner. I need a confidant who is going to help me be creative, be original, be brave.
So that reframe allows me to think of it as more of enable marketing and sales leaders that want to treat people as relationships and not just a lead number, not just a conversion metric, that what they're trying to do is play the infinite game with folks, understanding that community is what they need and enable that. That's the reframe.
Question number 2, where will you choose to play? And what I mean by this is, who is your audience? It is amazing how many business owners don't actually know who their ideal customer is. In the case of the restaurant I told you about, it's called Prime in Redmond, Washington. So if you're ever in Redmond, go to Prime. It's amazing. But that's what the owner of Prime did. He understood who his customer really is. And it comes into four categories. First is what's called geographic. Where do these customers live? Are they urban, suburban, rural? Are they global? If you have a certain type of business, like you're talking to people all over the web and they can be anywhere. So you have to understand geographically where your customers are. Second is demographic. Who are they? Who is this individual that is seeking out what it is you have to offer that mission to? Third is behavioral. How do they want to be interacted with? And then the fourth is what's called psychographic, which is a fancy way of saying, why do they want to be interacted with that way? So that's essentially the four ways. And you can dissect this in many different ways, but it boils down to who are you trying to sell to? Who is that ideal customer? Why are they buying from you? And how do they want you to interact with them?
Got it. So figure out our winning aspiration. I assume that this is go straight to clients. Like you gave the best tack, right? Like go to your clients, ask them what they think of is your winning aspiration. That should reflect your mission and your core values. Then it becomes, once you know what your unique value is, right? I would say that's
your mission. Once you know what your mission is.
Once you know your mission, then it's who is your customer really? Like, where are you going to choose to play based on where they are, who they are, as far as data that you would get from a census, right? And then you start getting more into like wants and needs. How do they want to be interacted with? Do they want to be mailed things? Do they want to be called? I tell people LinkedIn is my love language. If you're on LinkedIn, I like interacting on LinkedIn. And I also tell people video, text, or voice notes are my love language. Basically, I have ADD, so I can't read. So whatever you send me that I can listen to or watch or something like that is best for me. And I'm going to throw away 100% of mail. And psychographic, why do they want to be interacted that way? Because I'm a busy guy. I don't like you wasting paper. And because I like to be on LinkedIn interacting with people. So that would be me as a client. A little harder when you have to do it for somebody else.
I will sit with my customers and say, why do you keep coming back to Kavi Group? What are we giving you that you can't get from any other consulting firm on earth? Especially if they sit in a large company. Why did you pick us? You had all these choices. And they're telling me why they picked us. Is it easy access to Kavi Group? Is it the people that I hire that make the difference because they are different from what the other consulting firms offer? What is it about those our employees that's different? Do we give them a better experience from a consulting perspective? I ask them these questions because that gives me insight. What you'll see is a trend. If more and more of your customers you talk to start giving you the same answers, you now start to understand that you've got a brand and it's driven by a very consistent strategy.
Got it. Got it. And I guess that the reverse also holds true in the sense that, I don't know if this happens to you, but as a consulting company, my first client, who's my biggest case study for a long time, when I would ask him why he picked me, was like, I knew that you would care more. I know that you're going to dedicate yourself more to this because I was your big fish in a small pond. And as it starts becoming a bigger and bigger pond, if that's my unique value proposition to him, if that's why they are coming to me, then I need to either change how I think I can grow in order to continue to provide that, or change my strategy / business model in order to provide some other kind of value that is equally pumped up about, because I'm not going to be able to do that when I have 20 clients and I can when I have 5, right?
Yep. So you'll have to replicate yourself.
Or replicate myself.
Right. But that is how you build a sustainable business. Question number 3, how will you win against your competitors? And what you're saying is, in order for me to grow and provide this exact same value proposition, which is that winning aspiration to my customer, I've defined the ideal customer. They want this personal experience. They don't want to be a number. They want to be treated a certain way. Now, if I can replicate that, not replicate you, but replicate that feeling, I can get more ideal customers. What you're really doing is defining what's important to your customer, where do you stand in each of those categories, and where do your competitors stand? And you're saying, in these areas, I have the biggest advantage. In some areas, the competitors can be better than you. So, for example, I'm a small consulting firm. If you're in the management consulting world, you know there are some giant firms, PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMG, EY. They have global offices, armies of MBAs, strategic consultants. How do I beat them? On the surface, you'd be like, I should not even go into consulting because there's no way I should be able to beat them. But yet, Kavi Group has continued to grow for 9 years straight. And it's because when I look at what my ideal customer wants, I do certain things better than the big four. And we've continued to only focus on those and disregard all the others. So, for example, I don't have a fancy office. You're looking at Kavi Group headquarters, right? Yeah. Because my ideal customer doesn't give a crap whether I have a massive building in Times Square with my logo on it and mahogany furniture. They don't care. So I am not going to have an office building because it is not a differentiator. Got it. And so you start to focus in on where you are able to separate yourself in a positive way from your competitors. And that defines your value proposition.
Got it. Because when I'm thinking about it, the first place my head goes is product. I first go to this idea that if I'm lumped into other marketing agencies, most marketing agencies will essentially come and sit down and tell you what they think, try to figure out who you are by taking your time, then tell you what they think, then build a whole bunch of infrastructure around that, and then give you a whole bunch of homework to fill that infrastructure. While we take a differentiated approach of interviewing you to create content while we're figuring out who you are, interviewing your clients to create content while we're figuring out who you are, then tell you who you are based on what we've heard other people say, not just us, then create an infrastructure to distribute the content that's already been made based on what we heard. I think product there, but that's just product.
Your value proposition is not your product. You just told me what your value proposition is. It's service. It's the experience that you give your customers. If you've ever stayed at a Ritz-Carlton, you will never forget it. It is a one-of-a-kind experience from the moment you walk in the door till the moment you leave. Their product is just a hotel room, no different than Marriott, which they are under the umbrella of, or Hilton or anybody else. But they're not competing on the room. They're competing on experience. And that is their value proposition. People will pay hundreds of dollars a night for a room because it's not the product that they're paying for. They're paying hundreds of dollars a night for the experience of having a room at the Ritz-Carlton versus just a room. And other customers don't care about the experience. So you might both have the same product, but you're not competing on product. You're competing on experience. And that's the advantage you have over your competitors.
Got it. Got it. So then if I was to speak based on experience, it's less time in meetings, more time interacting with your clients as well, as opposed to in a boardroom with a marketing person, and then less homework at the end of it. That's already done for you on the way in.
Question 4, what are the capabilities you need in place to deliver that value proposition? For one of the differentiators at Kavi Group is our consultants. We have on average people with 10 to 15 years of hands-on risk management, business continuity experience. And that's with a very small team. So if you think of the concentration of that experience, it's unique. We don't put people in front of our clients who just graduated from school, which you will get with some of the bigger consulting firms, which means the client knows that they're learning on the client's dime. You don't get that at Kavi Group. They're basically giving you back experience that they've got hands-on. So now I have to think about what capabilities do I need in place to ensure I have those people.
Got it. For you, it's like a talent acquisition flywheel, ability to compensate those people that are not just beginners,
Yes. When you think about capabilities, you're now doing for your business in question 4 the same thing you did for your customers in questions 1 and 2. You're going to your employees and saying, why do you work here? What is it that you have that makes this so special that we're able to then deliver this value proposition to the client? So you now, as the entrepreneur, are sitting in the middle of these two pieces and you're saying, tell me, how do I continue to make this as amazing for you so you can be as motivated to deliver what the customer wants to receive?
Got it. Got it. This is genius.
Question 5 is, what systems do I need to support those capabilities? So if the capability that I need is a certain incentive structure or the ability to work remotely, one of the biggest draws for Kavi Group is we have no offices. Everybody works from home. We have no set hours. People make their own schedules based on the project work that they have. We have no hierarchy. So there's no managers at Kavi Group. There's no titles. We're just one flat organization. In order for that type of structure to work consistently day in, day out, I need to have certain capabilities. For those capabilities to exist, I have to have certain systems. For example, I have to be able to enable an entire remote workforce. I have to have information privacy and security rules in place. I have to provide them with the means to be able to do all the work they do with the knowledge management, knowledge sharing capabilities virtually. So my internal business systems have to be aligned. In order for my team to be motivated, my incentive and comp structure has to be aligned with that. A traditional comp structure does not work. So that's the way you flow. And if you can answer those 5 questions, you have a strategy. If those 5 questions tie together, you actually will create value for your clients, which will have them coming back.
You know what I like about this framework, this idea of what is your winning aspiration, like understanding what your clients see as the reason why you exist for them, where you choose to play, meaning really get to know them and who they are and what they want essentially and how they want to get it. How will you win against your customer being, what do you need to fulfill the needs of the people that you're trying to serve? What capabilities you need to deliver that experience, meaning how will you fill the needs of the people that you need to serve those folks and what systems you need to support them. How do you put them in the right seat of the right bus? It's all, I don't know how to best put this, but it's all extrinsic, right? I like to say that to get whatever you need to find a way to serve the people that hold the keys to the doors that you're trying to open. And I find that this is one giant exercise in that. It's like really understanding who you serve, what it is that you're doing for them, and how you can get other people to enlist them to serve them as well as possible. It's very based on the client as opposed to you.
Yeah, it's introspective. What I love about this approach is it takes you and me as the entrepreneurs out of the equation. Yeah. It takes you and your ego and your identity completely out of the equation. It doesn't matter who you think you are. You could walk on water in your own mind. If your employees don't think you walk on water, and your customers don't think you walk on water, you don't walk on water. And so you're basically saying, it's not about me. Don't worry about me. Tell me why you come to Kavi Group or you come to my business. Tell me why you are so motivated to work at Kavi Group for these set of clients. And you basically come out of the way and answer these 5 questions. You will grow. And the reason I like that is it takes away all the distractions and it allows you to focus.